Bienvenidos, señores y señores, to another episode of the Bleed Lows podcast. This episode of the Bleed Lows podcast has been brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, football, college football, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting, and your favorite casino and card games are available to play right from your phone. So head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use your promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. And joining us on the Carne Asada is former Major Leaguer and one of the hosts of the Ring the Bell podcast, which you can listen to on our network, on the Believe Network. That's Heath Bell. Heath, ¿cómo estás, amigo?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
Fantastic. So, Heath, you got to let us know, like, what the heck happened this season? I was made to look bad because I learned from the trauma of last year when they beat the Dodgers that I'm like, all right, that's it. The show pods are here now. They're going to take over. They were my pick to win the division. And look, I look at the numbers and it doesn't make sense to me because isn't their starting pitching pretty good?
Yeah, their starting pitching is pretty good. I think what happened this year, I'm not in the clubhouse, so I'm just speculating and stuff. But I think what happened is there was no team camaraderie. There was no team unity. I think they were just out there trying to play, and it was almost like not playing as a team and playing about I'm struggling right now, so I have to worry about me. And it's, you know, how they say there's no I in team, but there is an M and an E. And I think they were using that. And it was all about me. What can I do? You know, I signed a huge contract. I did this. I did that. Not about what can I do to help the team out. And also, I think the front office did not help whatsoever. Early in the year, we had so many different lineups. And they figured out Kim is a good leadoff man. But it took them 3/4 of the year to figure that out. They had Soto in the lineup hitting the 2-hole. And then after like 2 months or a month went by, they realized his batting average is horrible in the 2-hole. He should be hitting in the 3-hole. You know, this is a team all about numbers and doing this and that, and they didn't know any of this. So, you know, it's one of those things. You know, Soto's a great player. He gets on base, doesn't steal bases. And if we're not getting base hits when he's on base, then how can we score him? So what's good as a walk? You know, we need to start swinging the bat. And it's one of those things. I see us taking a lot of first pitch strikes and not being aggressive, and we're more pessimistic. Look at the year. Our manager called out some players without calling out players, going, you know, I really want our players to work really hard. You know, they kind of know who they are. I want everybody to, you know, be excited about where they play. Like Tatis, when he came back, he was playing right field. He's just happy to be in the lineup, this and that. We need other guys being like that too. There's some players that came out and said, you know, we just kind of gave up. You know, we need to stay. Basically, between the lines, they basically said we need to figure out how not to give up in games. They didn't say that those exact words, but you could read what they were saying. So I really feel it's a lot of finger pointing, a lot of, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I don't think we had a team leader. Maybe Machado is not the team leader that we all thought he was. Maybe he is. I don't know. But I'm speculating. I'm trying to figure out exactly what happened. And on the outside, this is what I see is when he's struggling, maybe he doesn't lead. When he does well, maybe he leads. So we don't have one guy. I mean, it's hard to say you want Eric Hosmer back, but you know, he was kind of a team leader last year, even though he wasn't doing well. And last year, here's the thing. Last year we went out and got a bunch of first basemen. It kind of got us to the playoffs, and we beat you guys. This year we went out and got a lot of shortstops. Didn't work. So here's my thing. Who's to blame? Yes, you could say the hitting coach because the hitting coach isn't doing well or whatnot, or the guys aren't listening or whatnot. I don't know. Manager, I don't know. I think Bob Melvin, if he makes the lineups every day, yes, he's at fault. But whoever's making the lineups or whoever's in charge of making the lineups, and I have a funny suspicion that's the front office, that's AJ, he needs to be responsible. What's going to happen to him, because he's tried so many things in San Diego. Yeah, we got really excited last year when we beat you guys, but that's it. I mean, gosh, we just brought Profar back. What's going on? I mean, he did do well with Colorado. Yeah, we signed him. Why did we sign him? We making a playoff push? What are we doing? I mean, we're 7 games out. Technically, we're still in it. We still have a chance. I'm not giving up hope, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good because I don't think everybody's going in the same direction. I bet you half of our team has already realized that we're out of it. We're not going to the playoffs. And probably there's only, I wouldn't even say half, but I'd say there's a small percentage of Padre fans or players in the front office or whatnot are saying we still got a chance. And if all 26 guys and the coaches and the training staff were thinking, hey, we got a chance, then we might have a chance. But I don't believe everybody is thinking that right now. And that's the problem. We're not all going the same direction. And that's kind of the Cliff Note version of what happened to the Padres this year. I mean, there were so many high hopes. Here's the one good hope that all the Padre fans can hope for, or maybe the Dodger fans can fear, that I don't think they fear us at all, especially after this year, is if you don't explode the team, maybe the team can come together this offseason and show up what they're supposed to show up, this year, to show up next year, what they were supposed to do this year. Maybe it took them a whole year to figure it out. I don't know. But on paper, they should be a really good team. And we suck.
Have you ever been a part of a ball club like that where clearly the expectations are not there? It's getting towards the end of the season. Like you just said, you're on the verge. Technically, we're not eliminated. We're still in it. But if it's true what you're saying, where some people are already checked out and like, we're done, like what's that kind of energy? Like, what kind of energy are the show pods going to bring when they show up in LA on Monday? Are they going to try to beat the Dodgers, or are they already in like, let's just finish off the season?
Personally, I think half the team's going to show up and the other half's not. But the only team I was ever a part of is when I signed as free agent to go to Miami. But they traded everybody mid-season. They started trading people like at the All-Star, right after the All-Star break. And the worst part is we were only 4 games out of the division at the time. I mean, we were last place in April, and then in May we were in second place, and then in June we were like 4 games back, and they were like, okay, let's get rid of everybody. Front office did not believe in us. The players, some believed in us, some didn't, and it was frustrating because the guys we wanted, like, we got a shot. We just got to figure this out. And when you put we had 6 brand new guys come to an organization, big name guys, it takes a while for everybody to kind of click, to kind of get together and get the rhythm. And we all knew that. So we were trying to go the same direction, but our front office was not. Where I think the Padres front office wants to win, but I mean, some of the trades they've done makes no sense whatsoever. So the players are going to go out there and they're going to give it their all. But deep down, when I say some are not going to show up, deep down, if you already believe that you're out of it, you didn't show up. That's the thing. The Dodgers believe that they're going to win the World Series, so they're going to think nothing else. But if you have some guys in the clubhouse in Dodger Stadium right now going, oh, we're going to win the division, but we're not going to win the World Series, you kind of know who those guys are, and they're not going to play, and they're not going to be excited, and you're probably going to kick them out of the locker room. So, but in San Diego's situation, you can't really do that. So it's, so there's 2 people that take a test. One person studies all week and does a lot of homework and gets prepared for the test. They show up, they do their best. Another person just shows up, didn't study at all, and does their best. Both of them, you could say, did their best, but one was prepared and one was trying to succeed to the best of their ability. The other one can say, well, I tried my best. I tried to do really well. I tried to ace it, but did you even prepare yourself for it? Did you have your right mindset? Like, hey, I want to get an A on this test, so I should study for it. Where somebody else is, I want an A on this test, but I'm not going to study. Who's really there doing their best? I mean, both of them you can say are doing their best, but really one is doing their best and the other one's half-assing it.
So did they make a mistake? Should they have traded? Should they have made different moves at the trade deadline? Because you mentioned it earlier. I know Soto tried playing it back, but that was really bad, right? When he made that comment of sometimes we quit. In hindsight, should they have tried to upload some of these guys like Hader, like Snell, and try to get something? Or is that sending the wrong message to the fan base?
I'm thinking they should have done something. They should have done something as in whoever, I mean, if it was Hader, one of those guys that maybe is out for himself, I don't know if he is. He's had a great year so far. Maybe, trade him because you have other guys in the pen that can close out games and get something. Snell maybe, but it was almost like they wanted to have a possible Cy Young winner. That was more enticing than, winning. But like when we go out and get, I can't think of his name right now. It was Pittsburgh.
Rich Hill.
What's that?
Choi,
that he's like leading. He was in the top National League with runners on scoring position. And that's one of the things that the Padres do bad. So like my son was all hyped about him. And I was like, so what's he going to do? Just pitch hit? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, how can we guarantee that people are going to be on base when he's up to bat unless he's just a pitch hitter? And then he's not a pitch hitter from Pittsburgh. So therefore now his job has just changed. Now he plays like majority of the time or part-time to just getting one at bat a game. I mean, that's going to be hard difference. Even though you're a professional and you're at the top of the top, it's hard to hit off the bench. It's hard to be a pitch hitter. It's hard to play every day, the grind of, being out there every day. So it didn't make any sense. And then bringing in Hill, do we not have any starters in AAA that can come up and bridge the gap? I mean, I could go out there and pitch as good as Hill right now. And I'm thinking, Rich is a good pitcher. He's awesome, left-handed. But if I was left-handed, man, I'd keep playing like he is. I mean, it's Jamie Moore here, man. Just go out there and flip it up, and hopefully they get themselves out. And then here's another part is people say Petco Park's a hard place to hit the home runs. Well, it doesn't have a hard time hitting off Hill. So
now I want to ask you about your favorite person in the world, because you had mentioned it before, the front office and Preller. So is Bob Melvin going to be a scapegoat? Or, I mean, at this point, how much longer can Preller does he have pictures of somebody? I mean, doesn't this have to fall on him the way this team was constructed and it didn't perform?
You think it would. If Bob Melvin goes, the Seidler family has to get rid of AJ. I mean, when is AJ ever going to be responsible for what he does? I mean, he wiped our farm system when he first came in here and brought a bunch of, like Matt Kemp, and I was still playing at the time, and Kimbrough, and all these guys that at the end of their careers, people didn't want, and it didn't do well. Then he had to reboot, and his big thing was, well, I got Tatis because I signed James Shields for 4 years, and then I traded him and got Tatis. But Tatis was an A-ball. You didn't know Tatis was going to be Tatis Jr. That didn't happen. And then you go out and get Machado, for $300 million. It's great. You go out and get Eric Hosmer. Didn't really pan out. You get Machado. Machado's the reason Tatis Jr. started the season off the way he did. But then you have to wonder, was he taking a cream? Was he taking steroids the whole time? Did he just get caught this time? Because this year he's hit so many balls to the warning track, and I think, and I'm not saying he's doing it now, and I'm not saying he did it then, but I'm starting to think, he hit so many balls this year and they just didn't go out, but they were out. They went out, a year and a half ago. So it's like, wonder. So somebody has to be responsible, and I don't think it's the manager. I think the manager's done everything. Bob has done everything he's had. And also, here's the other aspect. If a manager is not making the lineup, what is the manager really doing? He's inspiring the guys and he's taking control of the bullpen. Well, we've all known Bob Melvin messed up a couple times over the course of the year, but nobody's perfect. But if he's not making the lineup every day, then who's making the lineup? That person needs to be responsible. I mean, who is it?
So
let's know. Tell us.
Has that been going on for a while? I mean, out here, we all are convinced that Andrew Friedman is making the lineup and that Dave Roberts just, goes along with it. I mean, I can't confirm it, but it feels like that. I feel like after games, we have to wait a long time. And I always feel like Andrew Friedman is giving Roberts an earful, about how the game went. Are the Padres doing that?
I think about 80% of the teams are doing that. Here's the thing. I can't be certain that that's exactly I can't be 100% certain that that's what's happened with Bob Melvin. But I am 100% sure that happened with the last two managers that the Padres had, because I talked to the last two Padre managers that we had. That's exactly what was happening. He got handed a lineup. Now, Bob Melvin is not a rookie manager, but why would things change? I mean, I'm pretty sure in Oakland, Bob Melvin kind of got handed the lineup too. But nobody expected Oakland to win, small market club. You go out and sign a bunch of guys, you expect the club to win. Maybe Bob Melvin's not as good as manager as we thought, but I still think he's a great guy and a great motivator, but it's not working. But then again, if guys aren't going to respect our manager or listen to our manager, nothing you can do to motivate somebody. If nobody gives you the respect, you can't motivate somebody that's not going to listen to you. So I don't think Bob Melvin is the scapegoat. If it is, the Seidler family better start looking at the mirror and start looking in-house and stop relying on one person to make decisions. I mean, here's the thing. In LA, Friedman got there, things changed, didn't it?
Yeah.
You guys started winning. So if you bring somebody in and you say you got full reins and things start winning and start going really well, even when like this year you guys struggled, nobody really complained because he's like, Andrew's got a chance. He's got a track record of doing really well. If you bring somebody in and say you got full range and he's tried a bunch of things and they haven't worked, when do you decide that person is the problem? Think about it. If you're a businessman, when do you think that person is the problem? I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I am saying think about it. If you're relying on one person, yeah, your ticket sales have gone up. People notice the Padres, but now you're starting to be I don't want to say that Padres are a joke, but nobody talks about the Padres anymore. It's just like, well, that should have happened. This should have happened. What if we keep everything the same next year? And we're not really going to lose anybody, maybe Kim, but maybe we'll bring him back. We could have pretty much the same team. What's going to change? Do you think a new manager is going to happen and all of a sudden things are going to get better? I could even say, do you think a new GM is going to happen and things are going to get better? But that's your leader. That person tells your manager, this is the direction I want to go in. This is what I want you to do this year. And then the manager trickles down to the players, coaches to the players, blah, blah, blah. So it goes from ownership to baseball operations, or GM. I still like calling them GM. And then it goes down to your coaches and then goes down to your players. And I know the Seidler family's in. They want to win. They're doing everything possible to win. I mean, shit, he walks around the stadium, and meets all the fans and stuff like that. What other owner does that really, except Mark Cuban? And Mark Cuban wants to win. So here's the thing. What are we going to do? Are we just going to be really happy because, here's the MO of the Padres the last 10 years. Well, September, we had a better record than anybody in September. Even my years when we were under 500, we had a better September. We're ready for next year. Well, we're playing against teams that are bringing up young guys that are trying to find out if they're good enough. We're still trying to play. We weren't bringing up guys. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this offseason. Does the Seidler family really want to take control and say, hey, maybe I need to get some more baseball people in the front office instead of number people. So I don't know. And I know in LA, I've talked to Dave Roberts in the past. He has conversations with the front office. If Dave can sell and say, this is what I really want to happen. And they've had a good relationship. So, I mean, he has to fight for it, but he can do things because they both showed that they know what they're doing and they're both in the same direction. So I think they're working together. But if you don't have guys working together, you don't have a team. You just have a bunch of guys playing baseball.
Last one for you, Heath. You mentioned Seidler, and so what is going on with the TV deal over there? So it seems like with Bally's going bankrupt, it's like a metaphor for what's actually going on with the Dodgers. I mean, with the show pods. Could you see Seidler maybe doing something like Cohen did with the Mets and been like, all right, we're gonna restart this, and basically admitting we probably aren't going to be competitive until 2025. Gets rid of Scherzer, gets rid of Verlander. Could Seidler say, hey, you know what? That's it. I've given all of you guys a chance. We got to start this over, and we got to build it the right way.
No, I don't see the Seidler family doing that. I don't see that being the right direction. With the Mets, they just went out and they've been basically, signed a bunch of guys. The Padres have a good nucleus, have a good team together. They just need to figure out how to get everybody going the same direction. That's all it is. Everybody get on the same page. It's kind of like the Yankees back in the late 90s or early 2000s. Hey, you're an everyday outfielder, but we need you to come here and just bat against lefties. Before all the Questek and all that stuff started going on, Moneyball and all that. We need you to hit against lefties. We need you to hit against righties. But they knew everybody was going the same direction, and they went out and got like the best players and threw all the money at them. So they win. But it was almost like, hey, if I go here, I'll play a lesser role, but I know I have a chance to win the championship. It's just kind of like the Patriots did a couple years ago. It's kind of like, basketball. I'd say maybe the Lakers did for a while back, not recently, where like, hey, I'll play a lesser role so we can win. With the Bulls, in the 80s and this in the 90s, and the Celtics back in the 80s. So the Padres don't need to disband and blow it up. They just need to figure out some way to get everybody on the same direction. If that's a manager having their back and forgetting about what the front office says, even if he gets fired or not, if that's a new front office, if that's bringing in a clubhouse guy that, brings everybody together. I don't know. I mean, I'm not in the clubhouse, so I don't know exactly what they need, but they need something. They don't need to blow up. They just need to get everybody on the same page, going same direction, kind of like what the Dodgers have. And I believe Dave Roberts does that with everybody. The young guy comes up, takes him under his wing and said, don't worry about this. We're going to help you get, be the best you can possibly be. So don't get discouraged if you don't play all the time or this, or, hey, I know you're a shortstop, but I need you to go play center field. I need you to do this, but this is the best thing for the team. Cause don't worry. Eventually, if you do well, eventually you'll play first. Eventually you'll play short. They've done that to players. Eventually you'll be a starter, but we need you in the pin right now. Everybody agrees and goes, okay. But if you have a reliever that goes, no, I want to start. And they say, well, it would help us out if you can be a reliever right now, but I want to start. Then they're not helping the team win. It's all about themselves. It's kind of like there's two guys that we picked up this offseason that made one I really liked, Waka or Wacha or Waka. I can never pronounce his name. It's like Chewbacca. But anyway. And then I was like, okay, he's good. He's a solid pitcher. He's not the best, not the worst, but he's a good number 3 pitcher that's going to go out there and give you a chance to win. And then we got Lugo, that was a reliever for the Mets for the last couple of years, but he had in his contract that he needed to start Why? Say if you win the starting role, okay, great. But don't put in your contract you have to have like 4 starts, 4 or 5 starts in your, before you decide if you go to the pin or whatnot. What is that? And give them a multi-year deal. So that doesn't make any sense to me. But that's our front office. Why are they doing that? I really don't like those. Machado is a great player, could possibly be a Hall of Famer, but I don't like when you sign a 10-year deal and then after 4 or 5 years, you're like, well, I'm going to opt out because I want more money. Just don't like those deals. I think Kershaw had one of those, but I'm not a big fan of those. So, it's kind of like, well, do you want to stay here or do you not want to stay here? So anyway, and I just think it's one of those things that I don't think getting rid of a bunch of guys, but if we got to get rid of some guys because they're the cancer in the clubhouse, then get rid of that guy. Don't get rid of a bunch. We don't need to do what the Mets did. I don't believe the Padres need to do that, but I do believe the Padres need to do something. If it's moving one guy, if it's getting everybody in the same direction, they just need to do something, and it's whatever they're doing right now, it's not working. The definition of sanity is keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So that's what the show Padres are doing right now. They're insanity Padres right now. So they got to figure something out. Gosh, mix up the lineup one time. Put Tatis as the 4 hole, put Machado as the 9 hole, put Soto as like the 7 hole. See if that works. I don't know. Just mix it up. But it's like we're just going to do the same thing over and over again, and it's not working. If it's working, great, keep it up. But if it's not working, you got to mix it up somehow. Have Kim make the lineup one day. Shit, it's not going to get any worse. Think about it. Put out there on Twitter, hey, fans, give me a lineup.
But Heath, you mentioned it. It's going to be a very interesting offseason for them. But how crazy can next year look for them? It'll be the last year of Soto. Mm-hmm. In the offseason, will they make a run for Shohei? Because it seems like Seidler it doesn't matter how much money. That guy just seems to have endless pockets, and they just throw money at everybody.
Well, here's the thing. If we go get Shohei, where's he going to play? You're going to have to get rid of Soto if you want him to play. I think Tatis should be a center fielder. If we're not going to have him at shortstop, why not put him in center? He's so fast, But
so why is that? Why did they put him in right? Is it just because of Grisham? They have more faith in Grisham out in center?
Well, Grisham, what I keep hearing is he's a Gold Glove winner, but he's bats 200. So what? He doesn't make the team better. Just like Profar, he didn't make our team better, but apparently we re-signed him. But our front office, for some reason, loves the guy. I'm not a big Grisham family. I'm not. I think he's a great guy personally, but I just don't like his talent. I don't think for this team, for the Padres, for this year's team, yes, he's a great center fielder. But for a playoff Padre team, even though he did really well and he tore it up, and he's one of the reasons we beat the Mets. He got hot, but that can happen to anybody.
So, but you want to be a consultant. It seems like someone in the show pods needs a truth serum. You're out here, and what you're saying, I guess it must be tough because you're a former major leaguer, and of course people are be like, how can you be crapping on me? But sometimes you have to hear the truth and be like, it's two different things. You're a cool dude, but you're not producing on the field, and this is about results.
Yeah, here's the one thing. Start off the year, I was big on Weathers. And I said, Weathers, what he needs to do if he doesn't make the starting lineup, the rotation, the worst thing they can do to him is put him in the bullpen. What they can do is stick him in AAA and say, if you dominate down there and we need somebody, we'll bring you up. But if you suck down here or just pitch average, we're not going to bring you up. Like, I believe if a manager in a front office is really – if they're very truthful to their players may not like it, but they respect them and realize, hey, I need to get my breaking ball better. Or in AAA, I need to have under a 3 ERA. I can't just have quality starts. in the big leagues, I need to get a win, not a quality start. I need to go out there and get batters out 3 or less pitches. Not, well, I'm going to use this guy as a reliever, and then I'm going to start him, and then I'm going to relieve him, and then I'm going to start him like Nick has done, the last couple of years. But that takes a toll on you mentally and physically. Bring guys up and say, hey, we need you throw hard. We want to bring you up as a reliever this year. So practice in the minors as a reliever. And then if we see you can do it, then we're going to start you. St. Louis has done that to multiple guys. They did that to Wainwright. We want you to relieve, be a setup, closer / whatever. And then the next year, so you have a month in the big leagues and whatnot. Then next year, we're going to start you. But you have to produce. You got to do well. Not just, well, he's got a great arm and his numbers, do great. Just like, I just heard somebody say, well, our run differential is better than most people in the wild card race. Great. Wow. I would rather have a shitty run differential and have more wins and be 500. I would rather be like 15-4 with a horrible spin rate and an okay curveball and an okay fastball. But guess what? I win games. For some reason, the team scores 6 or 7 runs behind me, and I only give up 3 or 4 runs. That's what I would like instead of, well, I don't give up any runs, and I'm 10-10, but my ERA is at a 2. Because guess what? That's about me. That's not about the team. We got to figure some way out. I mean, it's weird. When my year, Jake Peavy won the Cy Young. For some reason, we didn't score a bunch of runs. We didn't have a great offense. But when Jake would pitch, we would score like 2 runs, 1 or 2 runs. But when Greg Maddux pitched, and Greg Maddux was in the tail end of his career, or Chris Young, the general manager for the Rangers now, when they would pitch, we would score like 5. It was the weirdest thing. It was almost like our hitters went, okay, Jake's not going to give up any runs. We only have to score 1 or 2. Greg Maddux and Chris Young is going to give up like 3 runs. So we got to score 4, 5, or 6. And it's not that easy. But in your head, you just think that. Like, I remember the days we were facing Kershaw. Adrian Gonzalez is sitting in my locker next to me and going, man, I got to face Kershaw. Now I guess there's going to have 0 for 4 day. And I think he did decent against Kershaw, but that was maybe that ways to psych himself up or to psych himself out that, hey, I just got to go make contact or something. But guys say that in the locker room. Guys say this. And I understand the head games of baseball, how it's really mental over physical. You got to have the physical aspect, but it's more mental. Where I think guys nowadays, it's about, where do I play on defense? How do I pitch to this guy? If I didn't know how to pitch to somebody and I forgot a scouting report or this or that, I didn't make the team. I wasn't out there. So now we got cheat sheets. That's all we got to do. Oh, okay. Let me move over here. I listen to the analytics guys instead of having baseball knowledge. We need to get back to – here's the thing. Bochy said it the best, and that's why I think the Rangers are doing well, even though they kind of fallen the last couple of days. Bochy said, the analytics helps me make my baseball decisions. And if you use analytics to make your decisions, you're going to end up being like the Braves when they gave Upton 80 some odd $1 million and Upton hit 180. And you're possibly going to be like the Padres right now, where they should at least be in the hunt. We should at least be behind the Dodgers or in front of the Dodgers. We should be in the wild card race, or at least, we should be there, but we're not. We should be above 500. Let me put it that way. And it's not working. So they need baseball knowledge. They need the mental part of the game, more than they need the physical aspect. And the mental part helped me play my game and helped me raise to where I was. Greg Maddux used to say certain things all the time because I think mentally he's really strong. Trevor Hoffman, I think mentally is really strong. But I think some of these guys nowadays are not mentally really strong. They're really upset because, Soto, I'm not saying he's not mentally strong, but he slipped up and said, hey, we got to stop giving up. I think he was so frustrated that it let out, Well, so there's something in the clubhouse that people are giving up. Like you said, he tried to walk it back and this and that, but he was so frustrated. He probably tried stuff in the clubhouse and it didn't work. So he went public, and that really didn't work because somebody probably yelled at him, but it happens. So I don't know. The Padres they just need something, they need, you can hire me to do something, but you need to have somebody come in mentally and figure this out, get the players, I don't know, yell at the players, bench somebody and say, if you don't run hard, you're benched. I don't care how much money you make, figure it out. I mean, kind of like what Belichick says, but if you don't do it my way, screw it. You're not going to play. He puts the best person out there now. And right now, I think the Padres, if you're not going to do it my way, okay, we'll just keep trying. Because they haven't changed anything. What have they changed? What have we changed all year? I mean, you guys have been probably, the Dodgers probably changed a few things. You guys had some injuries and stuff, changed a few things. It kind of worked, but kind of came and don't worry about it. Long season. We've been doing the same thing since April, and it hasn't worked.
See, this is why I love having you on the show, Heath. You tell us the truth. You tell us, and you have the great perspective, back there. I know it's been a tough season for your show pods. I want to thank you for coming on the show. I don't know what's tougher for you. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to end on a positive. I wanted to ask Heath about you pitched for the Savannah Bananas. How was that? Like I saw your entrance.
Yeah,
you did your old school entrance, ran in, slid
in. The Savannah Bananas it's so much fun to go out there and play. I mean, it's like a big show, but you're playing baseball, and it's literally everything you'd ever want to do when you played in the big leagues, like stuff you would do in the minor leagues, but you're like, well, we can't do that in the big leagues. They do that and more. It's like if you want to walk up and wiggle your butt or, throw behind a guy because you're messing with him, it's kind of like an all-star game, pickup game, Sunday league, all put into one. And it's really fun. I mean, Jesse does a great job there. And he basically says, if you have any ideas, let us know. Even if you come up with something during the game, let us know. We'll try to incorporate that in. We'll try to do this. We'll try to do that. So it's so much fun, and the fans are interacting 24/7. So I mean, it's kind of like it's almost like picture day in the big leagues, where you have a smile for like 45 minutes, and at the end of the day, at the end of the 45 minutes, hour of just smiling and taking pictures all the time, your cheeks are so like tired. You're smiling and you're having a good time the whole 2 hours. And the cool part is, there's a clock, 2 hours, and it just goes down. So you can look and go, okay, we got 37 minutes left, and they've never had a game go over 2 hours. So it's pretty fun. It's exciting.
Wow. Hey, Heath, like I said, the Padres, the show pods had a tough season, but what was tougher for you, watching the show pods play or doing a show with Borna? And listening to Borna's rants. And I worry about Borna's health sometimes, where it's just like, Borna, you can't let this impact your life.
Yeah, he's not that bad. I think the hardest part with the show was there wasn't too much to be excited about. And then we didn't do as much shows as we want because I just didn't want to keep being negative. And it was like, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to have some positivity. So we kind of vowed the rest of the season to try to be positive, but it's still kind of hard. It's watching the Padres. It really is. This year it's been so hard because what they did, how they finished last year and what they accomplished. You think, okay, they figured it out. They kind of feel like, hey, we can beat the Dodgers. It's okay if we lose the regular season. It's okay. We can do this. And they showed up and went, oh yeah, it was almost like last year was a dream and it wasn't real or something. They got scared somehow. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably not saying the right words, but like I said, at the end of the day, the Padres are a really good team. Just they're not all going the same direction. So the Padres need to figure that out. If it's the front office, if it's the coach, the whole coaching staff, if it's just getting one player out of there, I don't know. But they're not all going the same direction. We kind of. I hate to say it, but we kind of need to look up north a little bit and go, what are they doing? Like, I'll give you one thing that I learned this year, because I don't want to go as far and just say, do what the Dodgers are doing. Because sorry. I'm not a big fan of you guys, but I love a lot of your coaches and players, because I played against them and they coached for me. So I love a lot of them. But anyway, and I love the stadium because growing up in Orange County, it's kind of like that, it's an old stadium. And I just love the mystique and the old stuff, old Hershiser played there and all those great guys. Anyway, I heard what the Dodgers did a few years ago, and this is probably when Friedman came in, is he went out and got the coaches, the best coaches for the farm system. He got the best nutritionists. He took the crappy stuff that I would get ticked at out of the locker room. He made sure that the guys, they had good rest. They had better beds than the cheap old beds. They got these guys prepared to be able to perform their best ability from A-ball to the big leagues. Why isn't more clubs doing that? It's almost like you don't get the luxury until you get to the big leagues, And I think it's proven. The Dodgers, they don't have better scouts, because every Dodgers scout out there, I'm pretty sure you see other scouts out there. So it's the same kids. It's just they develop better in their system. So what are the Dodgers doing in their system? It's kind of like a couple of years ago, the St. Louis Cardinals seemed like every prospect was coming from there. And then a couple of years ago, it was Houston, but maybe it was a trash can, maybe it was good scouting. I don't know. But the Dodgers always seem to have really good players come up. They develop really well. So whatever you guys are doing is great. And I think other people need to look upon that and invest in their investments, and just don't invest in the top draft guys. So I give kudos to the Dodgers. I found that out a couple of weeks ago that they've been doing that for a couple of years. And I'm like, Andrew, as a GM that I had in Tampa, and it's funny because I can still call him today and he'll pick up the phone. I haven't called him in 2 years, but 2 years ago I gave him a call and he picked up the phone. And I had thought he wasn't going to pick up the phone. So that's what I think a GM should be, or baseball president, operations, whatever they're called now. They're still GMs. They're still GMs to me, but they're just doing things the right way. They're trying to make their organization be a dynasty from the bottom to the top. And that's how you're supposed to do it. It's, you got to have it. Why, one coach told me once, why don't you put the best coaches in like A-ball and AA, your first year guys, to teach them this is how to do it. And then at AAA, just have the babysitters, the guys that come in and, hey, you do this, you do that, have some big league experience and go, hey, the next level's like this. It's not like this. But you got to have the really good coaches when they're young and impressionable. That's it. You can't have your rovers. Your rovers aren't your best coaches because they're not there day in and day out. They just come in for a week here and go in there a week there. They should be just, a good assistants. So I don't know. And I think the Dodgers are doing really well with their farm system right now. And it's not about winning in the farm system. It's about developing in the farm system. And I hate it. The Padres the last couple of years had the best farm system. Hated hearing that, because you tell me one organization has the best farm system that wins World Series.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't happen. If you have good guys in the farm system, they go to the big leagues, or they stay in the minor leagues and they're just they're a good minor league player. Yeah. Well, I'd rather be a big leaguer than a really good minor league player. So anyway.
And Heath, I got to ask you, because you're so honest and you give this great perspective. This day and age in the media, there is a lot of media that is team friendly. And unfortunately, I think that's what lends itself to access. If you're critical, you lose access. Have you ever experienced any of that because you tell the truth about the show pods, that all of a sudden the team is a little less friendly to you or won't let you get access to certain information?
I'm known as being very truthful, but I don't say the things that are not true. I'm not like brutally honest, but I'm honest. Well, that's hurt me in a lot of opportunities to get jobs in professional baseball, especially with the Padres. They just don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear somebody being honest. I remember playing once, and there was two guys, and it was like they had the same stuff. And one had darker skin. One was a Latin player. Another one was an American player. And this guy, he's got potential. And I'm like, they're both 22. They're both coming from college. They're both 22. They both throw 90 to 92. They both have sliders. Okay changeup. Not a great slider, but it was, and I go, this guy's slider, the American guy, I go, I think he's a little bit better, slider-wise, because he throws a little bit more strikes. It's the only bullpen I saw. They go, no, but that guy has potential. Potential of what? And it was just like, what are you guys thinking of in the minor leagues? Like, you got potential? I have potential of running being the fastest guy alive, but it's not going to happen, because I got really strong legs. But you need some honesty. And I think that's hurt me in a lot of ways, because I've tried to work with the Padres. I haven't in the last year or so, but I tried getting jobs when I first retired, and I got the gist that I'm not a company guy. I'm too honest. I'm a wild card. And I go, I've never bagged a team. Like right now, you could say that I'm down on the Padres, but I'm really not. If you listen to what I'm saying, I'm just frustrated like every fan out there. And this might be going on. This might be going on. You got to figure something out. You can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. But that's what we need. We need honesty. If you're going to lie to yourself, then you're going to lie to everybody else, and you're just going to be a liar. You need some honesty. I wasn't the perfect pitcher. I wasn't the perfect body type. I'm not the all answers to this, but you need some honesty once in a while. And if you look at me and you've ever looked at my career, and I've had some good years and I've had some bad years, I've never bagged on a team that I played for. I've never bagged on the Mets, the Marlins, the Rays, the Padres. I said, well, we had problems, and I was very honest and open to those problems, but I never said this was the worst team I ever played for. No, there's a lot of great things that happened, but we didn't do well. And but it has hurt me in the past, and I'm trying to get back into coaching and baseball, and it's hurt me. But the funny thing is, I've coached some college summer ball teams. Actually, that's what I've been doing lately. And some fall teams, and trying to get some assistant coaching jobs in college, because, or pro ball. We'll see how this winter goes. I might go to winter meetings. But it's every player I've ever played for. Every player that I've ever coached has always said thank you. And I've been brutally honest with those guys. But I'm honest as in, like, I had this one player. I said, look, you're really good, but it looks like you don't care. You just show up. Like, you're not even taking it seriously on deck, because on deck, are you even watching the pitcher? You're just over there swinging, talking to the guys. I said, that's a problem. And he actually came to me 2 weeks later and goes, yeah, coach, I'm sorry for that. I'm not going to do that anymore. And he actually became one of our best players on the team. It took him 2 or 3 weeks to figure it out. But I was just like, this is what's going on. This is why you're not hitting well. And I tell every player I ever say, look, I'm a C hitting coach. I'm probably an A+ pitching coach, but I can teach you the mental game better than anybody else can. I can see what other coaches don't see. You see, you're not hitting well. I see on deck, you're not giving a hoot. You're not giving a hoot to being in the hole. Are you even paying attention to the two batters in front of you to see what they're doing, how the pitcher's pitching to them? Or are you just going up and going, well, he didn't do me this, he didn't do that. Well, what did he do to the other guys? And they're going, all of a sudden the light shines and goes, oh yeah, I should be listening to that. I should be doing that. I'm like, yeah, I'm not the best hitting coach, but I could show you mentally how the pitcher is going to pitch you and what you should be prepared for. Oh yeah. Like, there you go. So, but yeah, I will agree with you that me being very honest, a lot of people don't like that. And I'm hoping during the winter meetings, I'm hoping one GM, one coach will like it and give me a chance. Because, I've even told some clubs, I said, bring me in spring training, fly me in, put me up. I'll pay for my own food. Give me 2 weeks see if I'm worth anything. If I'm not, send me home. You know, we don't have to sign anything. We don't have to hire me. Just come in as a trial period, see if I'm worth anything. So, and clubs just don't want to take a chance on me. So we'll see.
It's their loss, Heath. I'm sorry we totally went over on time, but I love listening to you tell it the way it is. We can't thank you enough for letting us know what's going on with the show pods, because there's still some of us on the show that are just fearing that they're going to come into LA and they're going to either take 2 out of 3 or sweep, and it's going to be like, what the hell's going on, with this team? But
I hope that happens. I hope that happens, because they're good enough to do that. They just, it's something, like last year we went to a Bad Bunny concert and all of a sudden we turned around. Apparently Bad Bunny is not performing this year. I don't know. So I don't know.
There you have it. So once again, thanks a lot, Heath. For those of you guys can check out his show. It's the Ring the Bell podcast with our friends Nick Kreider and Borna Nazari. Hopefully we'll see you a part of an organization, Heath, in helping people develop and become major leaguers. But thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And a big thank you once again to Heath Bell, one of the hosts of the Ring the Bell podcast on Believe. Always have fun having Heath on the show. That's going to do it for this episode. Before we leave you, though, make sure you are subscribed to the podcast and to our YouTube channel. Why should you subscribe to our YouTube channel? Because guess what? We just dropped a new episode that is only just for YouTube. Only on YouTube will you find this episode. Cody Snavely, contributor to the Bleed Lows podcast. You see his writing on Dodgers Beat. He was in Washington all this weekend covering the Dodgers and the Nationals. He gives us the lowdown of what happened behind the scenes down there in Washington. So make sure you check out that YouTube episode. Yo ha sido su servidor, Juan Ramírez, de parte de mi colega Babyface. Nos vemos para la próxima. This episode of the Bleed Lows podcast has been brought to you by betonline.ag, where the game starts.